Hello. If you are a single, successful woman who desires to be married and are frustrated with the communication when it comes to dating men, this video is for you. My name is Jamila McMallow, and I am the #1 love and relationship coach for top performing women over 35. And this morning, we are going to be talking about the challenge of communication, specifically when it comes to your dating life and dating men. So, the first challenge that exists and why you may be experiencing this frustration is because honestly, nobody's being honest. Honestly, nobody's being honest. Nobody's being honest. Okay. We live in an era where there's an extreme amount of awareness around mental illness, which is great. And people are going to therapy, promoting therapy. There's lots of stuff on social media about therapy, and that's great. But it has also created this culture of therapy speak where everybody thinks they're a therapist and everybody thinks that they have to communicate with one another like they're in a session. And so it makes communication extremely exhausting because, well, let's just talk about, well, I feel this and I feel that. And it's just this back and forth. It's like, listen, no, that's not communicating. Let me tell you a story. There's a show you may have heard of. It's called Married at First Sight. Occasionally, I will catch a couple of episodes. I binged a little bit. And this most recent season, I haven't watched all of the episodes, but one of the things that I saw was this huge disconnect between the couples. Now, these are people who said, hey, I want to get married. I'm ready. And they have chosen to marry someone they've never met before. But they get into this relationship and they start having these conversations. And it's like they're just missing each other because nobody is being honest. Everybody is worried about, and mind you, it's a TV show, so, cameras, maybe they don't want to say anything embarrassing, got that. But it's illustrative of a bigger issue. It's not just because they're on TV that they're acting like this. It's happening. I know it because of the conversations I have with the women in my community, the women who I have worked with, all of it. This is what I do for a living. And so I'm very much on the pulse of what these frustrations are. And because everybody's trying to be everybody's therapist and everybody's walking around on tiptoes worrying about everybody's feelings, nobody is telling the truth. Nobody is just being honest and direct about how they feel, not crass, not rude, but just direct. If you don't like something, just say so. I don't like that. Why does it have to be, well, I hear what you're saying and I acknowledge what you're saying. And I feel, because see, what's happening in that case is everybody just wants to express how they feel. Everybody just wants to say what they want to say, but nobody is listening and nobody is just getting to the bottom of it, getting to the point, which is, this is the feeling. I don't like that. Now, why I don't like it, we can elaborate further. But if we're trying to get to know each other and we're trying to understand and navigate each other's standards and boundaries, we just need to be clear and direct. We don't need to have a mini therapy session, because let me remind you that you are not your boyfriend's therapist. You are not the man you are dating's therapist, and vice versa. And that's the frustration, and the reason why you guys can't seem to get on the same page is because communication is not fun. It is exhausting. You feel like, and it doesn't have to be that way, and it shouldn't be that way. Okay. So be aware of what, for lack of a better term, pop culture or social media is dictating to you as the norm in communication. It's not, it just is what it is right now. This is just the thing right now. So if you are experiencing frustration in your communication with men while dating, this could be one of the reasons why. And so I would encourage you to stop doing that. Stop. You can dig deeper and get into what's behind a man's thoughts, feelings, motives, and intentions without turning it into this thing that's exhausting and heavy and not fun for anyone involved. Okay. Now, within that, I want to say this to you. I know that one of your biggest frustrations may also be a lack of communication, ghosting, that type of thing. And I'll touch on that a little bit later. And I'm also going to be sharing with you some details on my upcoming masterclass, Ready for Your Husband. Because I know that if you are a woman who is ready for her husband, her future husband, to show up, come into her life so she can finally have the relationship that she wants, that you want, then this masterclass is going to be for you. And I'm going to get into that a little bit later. So number one, that's the first challenge, is nobody's being honest and everybody's trying to be a therapist. The second reason why communication is such a problem is because there's a lack of respect on both parts. Now, when a man communicates with you, it is your job to tell him what is and is not appropriate. So I'll use myself for example. And my husband, we were dating. He never did this, but if he did, I would have told him, no. But he didn't even come at me like that anyway. And there's a reason for that, because how you carry yourself is also going to determine how a man chooses to engage with you. But when he texts you, is he speaking in complete sentences or with a complete thought? Or does it sound like he's talking to one of his boys? Yo, what up? Hey, dude, whatever. Because no, I'm not one of your, as the expression goes, I'm not one of your little friends. I'm not. I'm going to be your friend. If I'm your wife, I'm going to be your best friend, but not one of your male friends that you can just, hey, dude, no. And plus, we're not even there yet. We're just dating. We're just getting to know each other. So the level of modicum, respect, all of that needs to be on point. So you as the woman, are you accepting communication from men that is less than you like? If you don't like being spoken to, like you're one of his boys, then have you expressed that? And if he continues to do it or gets irritated about it, then have you denied access to yourself? Because it's up to you to determine who has access to you. Okay. Now, on the flip side, as a woman, when you're communicating with a man, if you're being demanding, if you're being disrespectful and like you got an attitude right out the gate, this is a new man, but you bringing all this stuff from all your exes and your daddy issues and all of this, and he's like, yo, I ain't got nothing to do with that. Exactly. So men value respect. I'm gonna keep talking about this because I've been talking about this a lot lately because it's so important. Yes, we all want to be respected. For sure, as a woman, we want a man to show us respect. But when in a relationship, what we really value is feeling loved, feeling adored, feeling cherished, and men value being respected. It's important to them how others view them, their reputation, how they're viewed. That's important to them. So how are you speaking to him when you communicate? Are you showing respect so that he feels? Because if you don't, he's going to put up a wall and he's going to, now it turns into this. But if you speak to him in a way that disarms him, now you're going to get to the bottom of what it is that you really want to know, which is his thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and motives faster than if it's like we have to keep overcoming these hurdles of you having an attitude because of what happened to you in a past relationship. Don't bring that mess when you're communicating with a new man. Okay. Especially if he's coming to you correctly. If he's not coming to you correctly and you've corrected him and he's still not coming correctly, then again, why are you talking to him? Stop it. You're not his mom. You're not his coach. You're not his therapist. You are not getting ready to help some man become someone he's not willing, ready, or desiring to become. That's not why he's talking to you. Okay. And so stop doing that. Even in how you're communicating, don't talk to him like you're his mother. Don't talk to him like you're his boss. Don't talk to him like he's stupid. Okay. If you think he's stupid, stop talking to him. You don't need to have a conversation with him that, you both start not being the best versions of yourselves. So you need to require respect from him and how he communicates with you. And since we live in a day and age when a lot of our communication happens on text and on messaging, yes, you can require that he communicate with you in a way that shows that he is talking to someone that he has high esteem for, holds in high value, high regard, not just one of my boys that I'm kicking it with that I've known for years. And no, we ain't in love yet. So you need to be talking to me like this, because I may just be like, I'm good. Okay. So you need to require respectful communication towards you, and you need to give it in your communication with men. Okay. Don't allow anyone to reduce you to the lowest common denominator. Don't allow any man to say anything that causes you to choose to behave in a way that is less than ladylike, that is less than who you really are. Okay? Because you are not anybody. You have worked hard to get where you are. You have a great reputation. You've done a lot of amazing things. You're successful. You have great family relationships. You have great friendships. You are a wonderful woman. And that's not to say you're perfect and you don't have things to work on. But I want you to understand that if you hold yourself in high regard and refuse to allow yourself to speak and behave in a way that does not reflect well on you and your true character, then you're going to fare far better. So hold yourself to a higher standard. Hold these men to a higher standard. And guess what? The man who is going to be like, oh, great. And what else? That's the man. That's now he's a contender. Now we're getting into the category of husband material. Okay. But a lot of times you're wasting your energy dealing with men who are not contenders, who are not husband material, and don't even want to be in a committed relationship. And so that kind of leads into the third area that we're going to talk about when it comes to these challenges with communication. And that is that you don't have any standards for who you're allowing to have access to you, meaning you have no standards for who you are allowing to communicate with you. When you decide that you view yourself, your time, your energy as valuable, then you will stop allowing it to be wasted on conversations, interactions, and relationships with men who do not value it, who show you by their actions and sometimes even their words that they don't value it. See? So when you're dealing with a man who doesn't value your time, when you're dealing with a man who doesn't respect you, when you're dealing with a man who you really should not be dealing with, that's when you really get frustrated, because now you're dealing with lack of communication. Now you're dealing with being ghosted. Now you're dealing with, oh, I'm waiting by my phone. I texted him and he didn't respond, and all these things. Those are red flags that this is a man that you shouldn't be talking to. You know, now if he's a great guy and you've had this ongoing phenomenal communication and all of a sudden he's not communicating and you're like, well, this is abnormal, something could be wrong. We live in a world where things can happen at any time. So that's legitimate. But the truth is, that's not what's happening. Okay. You are talking to men who have shown you by their actions and attitudes, even their demeanor and lack of communication, that they don't value you. And so when someone shows you who they are, believe them. Don't switch into the energy of, well, I've got to prove, I've got to explain, you listen. When people tell me, oh, I need closure. No, you don't. There's no such thing as closure. You don't need nothing, because if you've been involved in a situationship, textuationship, dating a guy who has not been communicating with you, who has not been showing that he values you, I know for a fact that you have been telling him for a long time about how that behavior makes you feel, about what you'd like to be different. And guess what? In all that time, he hasn't done it. So ain't nothing you fitting to say right now going to change nothing. So no, do not convince yourself that you need closure. You don't need closure. You just need to stop. You need to revoke access. Yes, Stasia. When someone says, who shows you who they are, believe them the first time. That's right, the first time. Okay. And I understand, we're women, and it's just true of us. We want to give people the benefit of the doubt. We're, more nurturing, all those things. But sometimes you have to you have to think of you in the dating process. You need to be thinking about you. Okay. Because remember, your husband essentially is going to be the loving leader of the family. So you are essentially selecting who it is that you want to lead you. So it is an interviewing process. It is a him proving himself process. Absolutely. But conversely, in order for you to call that in and to have that standard and that requirement, you have to also be conducting yourself in a way that attracts that behavior to you and are behaving in a way that is healthy in said relationship. Okay. So, yes, Stasha said, if you don't put yourself first, then he won't either. Absolutely right. Listen, we teach people how to treat us. And so look at how you're treating yourself, not your pedicures, not the fancy purses you buy yourself, all this little superficial materialistic stuff. No, how do you really treat yourself? What are the thoughts that you're thinking in your head? How are your boundaries? How do you allow people to speak to you, deal with you when it comes to things like money, borrowing money? All those little things will show you how much you truly value yourself. And so you can't expect someone else to show up and value you more than you value yourself. You will not attract that. Okay. So let's just review. And before we review these three areas once more, I want to let you know that, again, I'm not going to leave you hanging. I am having my Ready for Your Husband Masterclass on Wednesday, February 14th. It's going to be from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It is a virtual masterclass. And I'm going to put the link up, but it is readyforyourhusband.com, and you can register. Also, no matter what platform you're watching this live stream on, whether it's the replay or you're watching me now, please make sure that you follow, that you love this video, that you share it with a friend, because I know you have a single friend right now that is dating who is like not getting it. And this might actually help her and support her. So share it, please. And if you're watching me on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. Thank you, Stasha. And thank you so much for being here. All right. So now let's review what we've discussed. Okay. We're talking about the challenge with communication. So first and foremost, that biggest challenge is that nobody's being honest. Everybody thinks they're a therapist and is having these, therapy speak type conversations. And what I'm saying to you is stop doing that. Just be direct in your communication, not crass, not rude, but just honest. They don't have to like it. It's okay if they don't like it, because they're going to reveal things about themselves that you don't like. And that's what you guys are trying to determine, is what can I live with and what can I not? And when you're in a relationship and somebody says or does something that you don't like, do you really need to say something about it? Because unless it's like, oh, life-changing, game-changing, let it go. Cover over it with love. Because when you are married, let me tell you what's not going to happen is you're not going to be having these exhausting conversations with your husband about the minutia of what he did or didn't do. Oh my gosh, you left your sock there, and I feel like that's showing me that no, we're not going to do that. We're going to overlook it, because guess what we want? We want him to overlook the fact that we did not scrape that plate off and put the food in the trash, and we just left it on the counter for him to wash. That's how a relationship works. You're giving each other the benefit of the doubt. You're overlooking those smaller things that are not deal breakers. I ain't telling you to overlook no deal breakers. I'm not telling you that. But I'm telling you that when you are living with another person, your husband, the man that loves you, you can't be like that. You cannot be like that. Just harping on every little thing. Nobody wants to live with a person like that. You don't want to live with somebody that's constantly taking your inventory. So don't do that. Okay. So stop all the therapy speak. Stop all the convoluted conversations and be direct and honest, not crass, not rude, just simple. Just say what it is, say the thing, and move on. And if you need to discuss it further, great. Second, respect. You need to require that if a man is going to communicate with you, he needs to communicate with you in a way that shows that he honors and values your time and you as a woman, as a person. And so you're not going to allow him to speak to you like you're one of his friends or you're just some random dude on the street. You're not. Okay. If he is a man who is seriously considering you as a wife, number one, he's not going to be talking to you like that. So that's also kind of a clue and a red flag. But you can always, say, hey, I don't like that. I prefer, you're going to show up how you respond, because you're never going to respond back like that, which sometimes a man will pick up on that and say, oh, okay, she's talking, complete sentences or whatever. Or you can just say, hey, I don't like it when you speak to me like that. I would prefer it if because I'm not one of your boys. I appreciate that you like me enough to want to engage with me in a familiar way, but yeah, I don't like it. So don't talk to me like that. Okay, referring back to number one, just be direct, honest, say what it is. So, and then on your part as the woman, being respectful in how you communicate with men, period. Stop having an attitude up front. Stop being demanding. Stop that. It's not going to get you what you desire. Because even if listen, you're practicing for being a wife. If you want to be a wife, start behaving like one right now. So when you're married and you're dealing with your husband, not some joker that you realize, okay, he ain't it, move on. But when you're dealing with your husband, that's not how you're going to talk to him. You're not going to talk to him like he's your dog in the backyard. Like, you're not going to talk to him like he's your son, like he's your child. You're not going to disrespect him, because I know you have male bosses at work that you know how to, even when you don't like them or what they're saying, you don't speak to them in a way that disrespects them and makes them feel emasculated or like you're trying to put them down in some way. Okay. So it goes both ways. You have to require respect, and then you have to be willing to show it. All right. And third, one of the challenges, probably the biggest challenge that you're having, is you don't have any standards when it comes to who you are allowing to communicate with you, who you are allowing to have access to your time, energy, and attention. If you view yourself as a valuable person, as a valuable woman, then you are going to require that any man that decides to step to you also is showing by his actions, attitude, and communication that he values you as well. And let me tell you something. This is not hard for the man that really desires you, that really wants you, that really sees you as his potential future, who really wants to get to know you to see if something more is there. This is not a big deal for him. That's how he's going to come correct. And if he gets it wrong and you let him know, he's going to adjust and say, okay, now what else? So see, those are green flags that you can look for. But if he gets an attitude, okay, great. He doesn't have to like your standards. He doesn't have to like your requirements. He can go find somebody else who has lower ones. Okay. Because the man you are attracting is your future husband, not your next textuationship or situationship. Okay. So revoke access to anyone who is not respecting, showing by how they're communicating with you, by how their actions, that they respect and value you and your time and your attention. All right. So let me know in the chat if this has been helpful to you, Stasha. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm also going to let you know about my masterclass. Again, it is the Ready for Your Husband masterclass. In fact, let me put the website up here so you don't have to try to do it from memory. Okay, here we go. It is readyforyourhusband.com. And in this masterclass, I'm going to be sharing with you the 3 secrets every top performing, high achieving, high performing, top producing, however you define yourself, but at the end of the day, you're successful woman needs to know in order to attract the love of her life and build a relationship leading to marriage. So if you are any of these things, top performing, successful, all those things, and you know that the next phase of life for you is marriage, you just haven't found the right man yet, then this masterclass is for you, because these secrets are what's going to allow you to be able to call him in, to change the trajectory, to transform the state of your love life right now. Because I know that a big part of your frustration is what we talked about, which is that you're dealing with men that are not right fits. You're dealing with men that are not husband material. You're dealing with men that are not showing they value or respect you. And you can't figure out, well, how do I attract what I actually desire? Okay. That's what we're going to be talking about in this masterclass. So make sure you register. It's going to be like a private VIP session. I'm going to be there. It's not going to be webinar style where you're off camera. We're all going to be there. And that's why I've limited the number on purpose, because I want to be able to serve you powerfully during this class. So it's not just about me sharing information. It's also about us, asking you powerful questions, us having discussions, me giving you some coaching right there on the spot. So you want to be there, and it's only $47. And so you have to ask yourself, wow, when am I going to be able to get coached by Jamila in person for $47? Only if you come to this masterclass. Okay. So be there or miss out. So I want to thank you so much for joining me this morning. Let me go back to the comments. I think there's another one here. Yes, if he doesn't meet your standards, he can get stepping. Absolutely. So thank you so much for watching. If you're watching the replay, leave a comment so I know you were here. Let me know what your biggest takeaway is. Share this with a friend who needs to see this. Register for the masterclass and be sure to like, follow, subscribe, all the things. Thank you so much for being here with me this morning. I will see you next time.